Today on CCX News, the new approach to mental health response. How Brooklyn Park police say a change in response to certain calls has made a difference. About 1 in 5 Americans have a mental illness. Sometimes the symptoms can lead to a 911 call for help. A special Brooklyn Park police unit has been responding to those calls for more than a year. Reporter Kevin Miller explains how it's working.
Here in the front we have,
for Brooklyn Park's alternative response team,
notebooks and things that we need. We have tissue, very important supply for a social worker.
This van can function as a mobile field office.
We have naloxone kits, so if people are overdosing on medications, on opioids, we can give them naloxone.
From the outside, the van appears more soccer mom than emergency response.
A step stool to help people get in.
And that's on purpose.
We'll go as a team, get in the van, and go try and make somebody's bad day better. We don't want to look like somebody else. We don't want to look like the police department. We don't want to look like the ambulance, because we're not.
This non-traditional vehicle is part of a larger non-traditional approach to answering 911 calls.
Our priority is to respond to calls related to mental health, to substance abuse, homelessness, other social service needs.
The team has an office in the police station but handles 911 calls differently than the rest of the police. They send a social worker and a community paramedic to calls.
Our goal is, as much as we can, go out and resolve somebody's problem so that they don't have to keep calling 911.
Hennepin County social worker Nils Dybvig says his work is steady.
I heard that we took 800 calls in our first year. Over 800 calls. So, yeah, we've been pretty busy.
So busy, in fact.
5104, okay, he's an adult, but it sounds like he may have some mental health issues, and he said his parents are threatening him.
That a call came in as we were interviewing Brooklyn Park Police Inspector Elliot Faust.
ART call. 5104 en route.
He says the alternative response team helps free police officers to focus on crime.
They can move on to other things that are more in the wheelhouse for the officer's skill set.
Police are leaning more on this team for help.
It did not take long for the officers to realize the benefit of having these folks to assist them or to take over the call in certain circumstances. They're just better equipped to deal with these type of things.
The van unlocked.
Police say this boils down to better outcomes and a drop in mental health calls.
It makes total sense why there would be a decrease. It's because things are getting resolved where they weren't ever getting resolved before. So that's a huge win. I mean, that's a huge success, and we're seeing it early on.
In Brooklyn Park, Kevin Miller, CCX News.
Meanwhile, Brooklyn Center is taking steps to develop its own alternative response team. Hennepin County, North Memorial Health, and Brooklyn Center are developing a partnership similar to the one in Brooklyn Park. One difference is that the Brooklyn Center pilot program will offer expanded hours. The city will be working with Canopy Roots, an organization that responds to mental health crises in Minneapolis, to cover evening hours.
So I'm really excited about it. I think that we'll see a lot of success, and as more and more cities start to take on this, they'll recognize that it actually saves us money in the long run as well.
Mayor Graves says the city has grant funding to help pay for the alternative response program. The Hennepin County Medical Examiner has identified the motorcyclist killed in a crash last Thursday in Brooklyn Park. The medical examiner says 35-year-old Vern Shivnarine of Brooklyn Park died of multiple blunt force injuries. Police say he lost control of his motorcycle and slid under a passenger car. Life-saving efforts were attempted, but Shivnarine died at the scene. Toys aren't just for kids anymore, and that's especially true when it comes to Lego. In Business Matters, we take you inside a store that caters to our sense of creativity and desire for nostalgia.
Hello, welcome in, you guys.
Some toys transcend generations.
I would say timeless and classic, both.
Awesome. Well, if you have any questions, feel free to ask any one of us with a name tag.
And in a strip mall near the Plymouth and Minnetonka border,
we're probably the best kept secret in the West Metro.
There's a store that will appeal to kids.
Thanks so much for coming in. Have a wonderful day.
and those who are kids at heart.
Once they step in, it is like a trip down memory lane. They see all the old retired sets that we have. They're like, I had this when I was a kid.
Stephen Olan is the manager of Bricks and Minifigs,
So this is the monorail.
a store devoted entirely to the world of Lego.
It grew from just a couple stores to now over 100 nationwide. Star Wars is a huge draw.
The store has Lego sets from Star Wars to Marvel to pirate ships.
They got tables of bulk, new sets, retired sets.
And it has more minifigures than a person can count, including the incredibly hard to find ones.
You have this Boba Fett priced at $130 because he came from the Betrayal at Cloud City.
But if you talk to the customers and staff members, you'll realize it's much more than a place to buy and sell Legos.
It's more community oriented than any other hobby. Lego is this vast community of people that share their art, what they're creating, and people can kind of glean ideas off of each other.
That sense of community has turned Bricks and Minifigs into a thriving franchise.
We have a variety of assorted pieces, vintage pieces.
There is also the fact that Lego generally doesn't depreciate in value because there's a huge collector's market.
You almost always should be selling it for more than what you bought it for.
Giving people the option of assembling a classic set or creating something completely new.
It's just a real dream to be here.
Budding gardeners can get a free start thanks to one Maple Grove neighborhood. Avid gardener Amber Olson has a little free seed library in her yard. Her family was inspired by little free libraries in the area. They put this one together with a community effort. The box was painted by local children's illustrator Cora Hayes. She hopes this inspires more people to grow their own food.
Because growing food locally is one of the biggest things you can do to impact a global food system, basically as far as resources and energy consumption and waste and all those things.
The box has seeds of all kinds, like spinach to grow your own produce and flowers. You can find the seed and book library at 9225 Ives Lane North in Maple Grove.
The Wayzata boys tennis team will aim to defend its Class AA title starting this week as section play begins. First, the Trojans look to wrap up a great regular season as they faced old rival Edina. Chaz Moots has the highlights.
Wayzata ranks second in the state in Class 2A, Edina up to fifth in the state in 2A. In first singles, Aaron Badoon back and forth for a while before he goes to the back left corner with his forehand. Badoon went on to win 6-2, 6-3. Tanae Pangalori going up against Thomas Laux in second singles. Pangalori gets Laux going right, then fires a shot left for the point. He went on to win 6-0, 4-6, 6-2. Over on first doubles, Jacob Sasbury serves a nice stretch on the return from Nolan Badoon. Then another nice play at the net from Badoon for the point. But later on, the Hornets' Santiago Sanchez with a big swing up front goes cross court for the point. Sanchez and Malher Jane get the win 3-6, 7-5, 7-5. A couple courts over in second doubles, Thomas Prodzinski with a good serve. Ethan Turninen, nice get at the net. Then on the return back, he goes up high for the point. Turninen and Prodzinski win in straight sets, and the Trojans beat their conference rivals to wrap up the regular season 6-1. In Plymouth, Chaz Moots, CCX Sports.
Benilde St. Margaret's lost its first game of the year Saturday to Mankato West in a matchup of perhaps the top two teams in Class 3A baseball. Despite the loss, this veteran Red Knights team could be tough to beat late in the season.
There is always room for improvement. And sometimes Benilde St. Margaret's head baseball coach Andy Judkins is the guy who keeps his team focused.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you got to be the mean guy, I got to get on him, and I told him from day one, like, I'll be the guy that'll break the hard news to you or give you the tough love. Kind of the way it's been, and they respect that.
Not that the team's play constantly needs correcting. The Red Knights are 12-1 entering this week, and 7 starters are back from last year's section-winning team. 2 still remain from the 2022 state championship club.
So we had a lot of kids return from last year. We lost like 2 seniors, I think. So just having those guys return and know what they're doing out here just helps us a lot and helps us get the younger kids that haven't played as much.
For the last 4 years, and I mean, we've had a lot of opportunity to build a good chemistry, and it's showing on the field right now. And I mean, it takes everyone, it takes everyone.
As you would expect with a team this good, there's a lot going well for the Red Knights most days.
Yeah, I said our pitching's been great, but also our hitting's been great too. So like we've been scoring a lot of runs, which has helped a lot, and that carries us over into the late innings. And once we score those runs, like we put them away.
They get in there, they grind away in at bats, they chip away at a run here, and then all of a sudden we'll have 2 runners on, and Charlie, the guy you talked to, will hit a 2-run double, and all of a sudden you're back in it.
With just 2 weeks left in the regular season, the Red Knights are eyeing a 3rd straight trip to the state tournament. But that's in the future. Time now to keep getting better.
We need to play clean. I think in a few of our games we've let ourselves get comfortable, whether that's throwing balls or making errors. And so if we can continue to get better and continue to play clean baseball, then that's going to project us to the state tournament. Game by game, we can't get too ahead of ourselves. We can't talk of ourselves too highly. We just got to keep doing what we're doing.
High school spring tournament time begins this week. The state adapted softball tournament is this weekend. Jay Wilcox has more.
The state adapted softball tournament is Friday and Saturday, and the Osseo CI Division team, representing all of District 279, comes in with high hopes. The Orioles are undefeated entering the tournament and earned the #1 seed from the North Conference for state. Dakota United is the top seed from the South. Osseo faces South Washington County in the quarterfinals Friday. In the PI division, Robbinsdale Hopkins Mound West Tonka's Robins are the #2 seed. This is footage from last year's state tournament championship game where the Robins finished as runner-up to Dakota United. Dakota is the top seed for this year's tournament too. Osseo and Anoka Hennepin are the other local teams in the PI tournament. Chanhassen High School is the site for the tournament with championship games Saturday afternoon. Jay Wilcox, CCX Sports.